Good afternoon, all. Warm welcome to the DiPiKA project. I am happy to invite Sri.Kapra Sankaranarayanan sir. He is a retired assistant professor of Sripati Engineering College, Vavanur, Kuchinadu. Present, he is a Vedic teacher of Vadakke Brahmaswam Madham. He is a Shraudha family member. Today's topic is construction of Citis for Yāgas according to the Kerala tradition. Warm welcome to the presentation. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to present a topic in front of the audience who are gathered here, and there are many more who are joining through Zoom or other options. Now, today's topic is construction of cities or Yāgas according to Kerala tradition. Before moving to the seminar, I would like to introduce myself within a small words. Actually, I am belonging to a family which has a long tradition of Shraudha. Around last 10 generations have practiced Shraudha Kriyas in my family. Either Yaga, which is Agnishoma Soma Yaga, or Adhiratra. So, in our family, we all are very familiar with these things. That's why I got a taste in this topic. Then, as I went to schooling after completion of these basic studies of Veda, that is Samhita Patha, then Vikriti Pathas, all those things. Then I went to Thrissur Government Engineering College, from where I completed my BTech in Civil Engineering in 2008. In 2009, I joined the National Institute of Technology, Suratgarh, which is located near Mangalore, and completed my PG in Structural Engineering. So, as a civil engineer, I thought there are a rigorous mathematical analysis which the ancestors have done on reaching the particular dimensions and shapes. Then I went on researching about those things. Then for the last few years, I thought I would present this topic somewhere because it's so wonderful. Actually, it is unimaginable on those days, say before 5,000 years or 6,000 years ago, how they were able to reach on these particular dimensions. As per our modern information, we think that on those days, the trigonometry was not developed at all. Sine, cos, those things was not there. But on going through these dimensions, we feel that they had at least some basic concepts about this. Otherwise, it is not possible to obtain these particular dimensions. All these dimensions are based upon Shulba Sutras. There are many Shulba Sutras available all over India. In our Kerala tradition, we mainly focus on Katyayana Shulba Sutra. Okay, that is a basic introduction about myself and about this project, this topic. So here I am mainly focusing on its geometrical or constructional side only, not focusing on the ritual side, because it is entirely different and it will take at least one day. for those have some understanding about those rituals. If you want to explain the ritual side of Chiti, it will take at least 1 day to explain all those things. So I am avoiding that portion. I am focusing on the geometrical aspects only. Then, next step. As we all know, Yaga occupies an important role in Vedic ritual practice. When talking about Yaga, we can easily say that Yagas or Shauda Kriyas are the oldest ritual practice which sustained in the world. It is at least 5,000 years old or more than that. It is the oldest ritual practice all over the world. And about Kerala tradition, the peculiarity of Kerala tradition is the oral transformation of knowledge. We mainly do teaching through oral tradition only. Bookish knowledge is not practiced in our tradition. So the purity of the initial work has carried out through millennia without any flaw or any deviation from the original text, or we cannot say text because we are not using book, but the original text is maintained as such itself now. That is the peculiarity of Kerala tradition. And apart from the text or geometrical side, we have some unique chanting style also. If you want to know about this thing, you can visit Brahmaswam. Here we are teaching the Veda for at least 500 years, last 500 years. Our tradition or our style is entirely different, and it is kept as such as it is. So in the geometrical side as well as in our chanting style, we are keeping that particular our own identity itself. Now, the performance of Yaga involves systematic organization of sacred spaces and ritual components. Spaces means the components of Yagasalas, and components means the equipments used or the vessels. All those things include in that term components. So there is a particular order in which those have to be kept, and thus that precise arrangement of these elements reflects the discipline and order of our Vedic ritual practice. The Yagashala provides a sacred space or setting for carrying out these ritual activities. Now, I can add one more point with this. Yaga means mainly Somayaga. Why the name Somayaga? In Yaga, the main objective is to offer the Somarasa to gods. So the final days of Yaga, whether it is Agnishtoma Somayaga or Adhiratra, whatever it is, the final days are meant for this main practice. Then the initial days for the preparation of that. Preparation of Soma, then preparation of Yagashala itself. All those things are happening in the earlier days. In the case of Agnishtoma Soma Yaga, those preparatory days are 1, 2, and 3. In Adhiratra, it lasts along 8 days because we have to make that large Chiti. That work itself will take at least 5 days. Okay. So for Adhiratra, that's why Adhiratra is for 12 days and Somayaga, that is Agnishtoma Somayaga, is for 6 days. So briefly we can say there is an initial portion where the materials and components are made. Then the final days where the main offerings are done. Okay. Now, Yagashala and Chiti. As I mentioned earlier, Yagashala is a carefully planned sacred space where various ritual components are arranged according to prescribed spatial and functional principles. Both are important. Spatial and functional principles. Then another important thing is that in Yagashala, we use only natural materials like the palm leaf or leaf of coconut for the covering, then the trunk of arecanut tree for the poles, rope made from these natural fibers. We use only natural materials for the construction. For the materials also, like the equipments, we use only wooden materials or clay materials. So the entire construction is eco-friendly and in modern terms, zero carbon. Almost. Okay. When the yaga is completed, the entire Yagashala is given to Agni Deva. We will put fire on those. All things. Or any essential materials like those which are used for day-to-day use of Yajamana is taken. All other things are kept there and put on fire. Now, about Chiti. Citis are constructed with a specific measurements and proportions, geometrical forms, orientations and arrangements, then brick patterns and layers. When we moving to further slides, you can easily understand why all those 4 elements are mentioned: measurements and proportion, geometrical form, orientation, brick pattern. Different yagas require different type of Chiti, each with its own ritual and geometrical significance. Actually, as per the text, there are many shapes like the Shena Chiti. Shena means shape of Garuda, a falcon shape. Then Kurma Chiti, which is having a shape of tortoise. And Ratha Chakra, these are some examples in circular shape. These are explained in our textbooks, but in our tradition, Kerala tradition, we are using the Shena Chiti only. That falcon shaped Chiti. In other states, they use some other shapes also. Now, scope of this presentation, as I mentioned earlier, here I am talking about the geometry, measurement and symmetry and planning of the Chiti only. I am not mentioning about the ritual side. Okay. Then the components of Yagashala is explained. Then measurements and units used for the construction, different types of Chiti, then geometrical forms and arrangements, and some relevant figures and representation for this. So the order, I will first explain what are the components of Yagashala, the function of each element in brief words, then where is the Chiti is positioned in Yagashala, then we will move to the mathematical side of Chiti. Okay. Now, components of Yagashala, there are, you can see 5 main components: Prachinashala, Sadas, Havirbhanam or Somashala, Marjaliya and Agnithriya. These are the mains. On a broad scale, we can classify the Yagashala into 2 parts. First one is Prachinashala and the second one is Mahavedi. Mahavedi includes the last 4 elements: Sadas, Havirdhana, Marjaliya and Agnindriya. Okay. This picture represents the arrangement of all those. The first portion, bottom portion, which is on the western side, which is Prachinashala, and you can see Sadas, Somashala, Chiti. In front of that, there is Yubam. There is a pole. On the most eastern side of this portion. And this trapezoidal shape Okay. That is termed as Mahavedi. Okay. Now, coming to the first element, which is Prajinashala. Prajinashala is used for the day-to-day activities of a Yajamana. So, as a man who is doing Adhiratra or Somayaga, he has to keep 3 Agnis. That's why the name Treda Agni. On each side. On eastern side, western side, and southern side. There are particular names for these Agnis that are mentioned here. The eastern side, the Gunda or the Agni is called as Ahavaniya. The main offerings are done in this fire. And the western side, there will be another Gunda, which is called as Garhabhatya. The materials used for the offering in Ahavaniya is made in Garhabhatya. And the third one is Dakshinagni or Anvaharya. It is meant for the rituals related to our ancestors. As we all know, we do those practices on southern side. Pitru Kriyas are related to southern side. So that Agni is used for the ancestral rituals. And initially days, as I mentioned, there are some preparatory days for Yaga, first 3 days. Main Kriyas or rituals, which we can call as Ishti, that are done in this Prajinashala. And Pravargam and Upasat. I think Pravargam is the most decorated part of Yaga. In that Pravargam, you may see that fireball coming out of the clay pot in the shape of a mushroom. That is the most photographed portion of any Yaga. That Kriya or ritual is held in this Prajinashala. Along with that Pravargya, there is another important Kriya which is termed as Upasat. Always, whenever there is a Pravargya, there will be an Upasat. That's why I took both. Then all instruments and materials are kept in this Prajinashala. The materials like the grass, samita, which is a particular type of food, and equipments, all those things are kept in this Prajinashala. And Prajinashala is an enclosed space. Okay. Then there is at the bottom, there will be a Patnishala. We know what is Patni. There must be some space for them. Nowadays, we provide the urinal facilities, all those things related to Patnishala, and some resting space. If needed some medical assistance, all those things are kept in Patnishala. Now, Sadas. Sadas is just in front of this Prajinashala. It is a part of Mahavedi. On those final days where the main offerings are done, both Rigvedis and Samavedis sit in this Sadas. When there are offering on the main Chiti, there will be prayer performed by either Samavedi or Rigvedi. Okay. Then the Rigvedi part, which is called as Shastram. Those mantras are taken from Rigveda, and the order may be different, as in the case of Samhita, but and Samavedis perform Stuti, Samagana. It is something like a song. Before every Shastra, there must be a Stuti by Samavedi. So those Samavedis and Rigvedis are sitting in this Sadas. So Sadas is meant for this prayer hall, we can say like that. Then the next one is Havirdhana, which is sometimes called as Somashala, because the main material, which is Soma, is prepared and kept in this hall. It is also called as Somashala. Preparation of Somarasa takes place here. And there will be two chariots on which the Soma and related materials are kept on northern side and southern side. And prepared Homa materials other than Soma is also kept in this location. Then Agnidriya. There is one participant which we call Ritvik. Ritvik is a person who is participating in Yaga. There is one Ritvik whose name is Agnidriya or Agnidra. The duty of Agnidra is to keep fire. So we can call him fire keeper. So the Agnidriya is a small shed on the northern side, and it is a place for this Agnidra. Here also a small gunda is there. There is some fire, and in Yagas and Adiratras, some small rituals are done in this fire also. Now Marjaliya, it is just opposite to Agnidriya on southern side. It is meant for cleaning the vessels and other things used for Yaga. Now, I think you got at least some idea about the Yagashala and its components. Now, how to measure or how to locate each element? There are specific measurements for all those things. Then we have to know what are the measurements. According to our tradition, all measurements are based upon the Yajamana's height. So in other words, we can say the whole Yagashala represents Yajamana's body in some or other way, because all those things are directly linked to his measurements. Based on the height of Yajamana, the measurement is taken from the fingertips to the toe of Yajamana's arm fully extended above his head. That measurement is called as Purusha Pramana. And Purusha Pramana is considered as 120 angulas. Angula means finger. So the dimension of one finger is 1 angula, and the Purusha Pramana is approximately 120 angulas. That is a general rule. Now this figure shows the Purusha, how the Purusha Pramana measurement is taken. Here one person, say Yajamana, is standing with his arms outstretched above his head. This measurement, 2100 mm, this is in mm, is taken from a particular Somayaga, particular Adiratra, which was held in Moolangur in 2006. At that occasion, my father, Sankaranarayanan Somaya Jipad, was the Yajamana. So his measurement is taken as a sample. So the total height was 2100 mm, and the height up to the knee was 375 mm. In all these calculations, I took these dimensions are the basis. Now, there are many scales used for different purposes in Adiratra as well as in Somayaga. There are some important things which I have mentioned in this table. First one is Purusha Pramana. As I explained earlier, this is 120 angula and the total height is 2100 mm. Then the next one is Aratni. That is a name Aratni. Aratni is 1/5 of this height. 120 divided by 5, which is 24. That in mm, which is 420 mm. Similarly, the next one is Pradesham or Pradesham, which is the half of Pradesham, which is half of Aratni. So it will be 210. Then Prakramas. There are 3 different types of Prakramas used for Adiratra. In Yaga, we use that first one, Prakrama only. In Yaga, we use the only word Prakrama. In Adiratra, we have to include that large Chiti. So more space is needed. So we include 2 more scales to measure. That's why 2 other Prakramas are also included in this. In Yaga, we have up to Prakrama only. In Adhyatra, we have two more other dimensions, which is Madhyama Prakrama and Vruddha Prakrama. Vruddha means increased. Madhyama, in between the original Prakrama and Vruddha Prakrama. In Adhyatra, we call the Prakrama as Prakrita Prakrama, the original one. Then Madhyama Prakrama, slightly increased version. Vruddha Prakrama, the largest one. And the dimensions are also shown in angulas as well as in mm. One more. Now, Chiti, from the figure itself, you can see Chiti is located on the eastern side of Yagashala. Why on the eastern side? Our main source of the whole humankind is, main energy source is sun itself. So the direction of sun is east. That's why we are doing the most important rituals on the eastern side. That's why Chiti is located on the eastern side. All important rituals are held at this Chiti, and Chiti is constructed in 5 layers, 1 layer on each day. So it will take 5 days to complete Chiti. This figure also shows the position. Next one. Now, about the anatomy. Chiti has 4 parts. Shiras means head. Then body portion, which is sometimes called as Atma. In some other texts, they call it as Anga. And 2 wings on 2 sides, northern, southern side, and a tail portion towards the west. These are the 4 components of Chiti. There are some oriented towards the rising sun. That's why I mentioned it is a direction of our energy source. Then Atma, the central portion where the all sacrifices or offerings are done. Then the 2 pakshas or wings, which represent balance and flight. Then tail, which on western side represents the balance. Now, different types of Chitis. As I mentioned earlier, there are large number of varieties which are used all over India, but according to our Kerala tradition, we use mainly 3 types of Chitis. Okay, each are the form of Shena Chiti or Garuda Chiti itself. In the form Garuda Chiti itself, but there are slight difference in these 3. First one is Shatpatrika. Second one is Panchapatrika. And third one is Peethan. And Shatpatrika and Panchapatrika, that is the background image itself. There are edges. Depending upon the number of edges, if the number of edges are 6, we call it as Shatpatrika. If it is 5, we call it as Panchapatrika. And the last one, Peethan, which has no such edges. Okay. Now, according to the tradition followed by Kerala style, in Kerala for the or during the last century or 150 years, most of the Yagas and Adhyatras were held by Brahmins from Shugubura Grama or Irinalakuda Grama. Most of them, at least 99%, we can say. Chermuk and Taikat belongs to Shugubura Grama. There are some particular rules followed by those Vaidikas. 2 Vaidika family. They are the authorities for all those Shraudha Kriyas. According to Chermuk family or Chermuk Vaidikan style, they use Shatpatrika and Peethan. And Taikyad side follows Panchapatrika and Shatpatrika. So Shatpatrika is common to all. Similarly, in Irinjalakuda Grama also, there are two Vaidika families. One is Kaimukku Vaidikan and Pandal Vaidikan. They are also following the Shatpatrika form or Panchapatrika. They are not using Pithan as per the knowledge available now. Now, actually, there is no wrong with using Pitha. But the thing is that you can see this Panchapatrika and Shalpatrika, there is some visibly, it is beauty. There is a visible beauty in that design. But Pitha is something like a square or rectangular shape. That can be one reason for not choosing Pitha. According to Kerala tradition, only Chermukku Vaidikan family follows the Pitha practice. All other follows either Panchapatrika or Shatpatrika. Now, there are certain rules followed by our ancestors in selecting these particular dimensions. What are they? First one is, Citis has 5 layers. Each layer consists of 200 bricks. Irrespective of the shape, whether it is Shatpatrika, Pithan or Panchapatrika, whatever it may be, each layer, the number of brick is 200. Okay. Then the second one, actually this second one is belonging to the civil engineering side. Discontinuous vertical joints. Because if we arrange bricks in a particular order, which generates a continuous vertical joint, that joint can lead to a failure plane. That is a basic civil engineering idea. In civil engineering itself also, we use certain bonds. We call English bond, Flemish bond, those things are there. In that case also, if one vertical joint is in this direction, in the next layer, we will overlap. Otherwise, it will result in a failure plane. Yeah. So, in order to avoid that possibility, we have to ensure that the vertical joint must be discontinuous. Every point, except one point. That point is Atma, the center point of that Chiti, where there is a vertical line. If we pour some ghee or water at that point, it will reach the ground. At all other points, it will reach the brick which is lying next to below. Okay. So that discontinuity is maintained. That's why those different shapes and dimensions are essential in order to ensure that discontinuity. And thickness of each layer is 1/5. The thickness of brick. Thickness of one brick is the total 1/5 of knee height. In that figure, in Purusha Pramana figure, that value was written as 375. I don't know, you remember. We call that height as Janu Dattha. Janu means up to the knee height. So once the entire Chiti is completed, the height will be around the height of his Yajamana's knee. Okay, so the thickness is fixed and the dimensions are changed according to satisfy these conditions. Some mathematicians says that in order to ensure all these conditions, the only possible mathematical option is these dimensions are itself. I am not sure about that, but some text says that any other dimensions which can lead to this condition satisfaction is not possible at all. Think about that brilliance over our ancestors. Nowadays, we have so much numerical calculation options. If somebody is very good in mathematics and programming, he can easily find the all possible options. using the software, something. But before 5,000 or 10,000 years ago, they were able to find these solutions with the usage of their brain only. That's the magic of this calculation.
200% then we had Yajapana.
After completion of all bricks,
All bricks.
Yeah.
200 all bricks.
one layer include 200 bricks. Say, take that value. The height is 375. 375 divided by 5. How much? 366. 60. എത്ര? 375 by 5. How much?
375 by 5 is
63.
75.
Eh?
375 by 5 is 75.
75. So the thickness of each brick is 75 mm. Then completing 5 layers, the total height will be 375.
Actually,
No.
no. Okay.
I will explain those things. Now, coming to Shatpatrika, that is the most commonly used or accepted by any Vedika family. As I mentioned earlier, it has 6 edges for the wings and it represents the fully matured state of Sena or Garuda. That is another concept. Pitha, Panchapatrika and Shatpatrika, that is the order. Pitha has no wings. Panchapatrika has wings, but the edges are less. Shatpatrika is the fully developed state. So the myth is that Pitha represents the infant stage of this bird. And Panchapatrika represents the developing state. And Shatpatrika represents the fully matured state. That is one reason why all Vedikas agree on this Shatpatrika. And it is the most complex of all these 3 from the geometric side of view. There are 10 various shapes and sizes used for the construction of Shatpatrika. 10 different types of bricks. And there is one basic brick which is called as Panchami. Pancha means 5. So 1/5. 1/5 of the Purusha Pramana, total height of Yajamana, which was in this case 2100 mm. So Panchami means 1/5, 420 mm. These are the 10 bricks which are used for the construction of Shatpatrika. The base one, which is at the center, I think it is clear to you. Okay. First one is Panchami. Then, if we cut this Panchami along this direction, we will get a half portion of that. Half means Ardha. So that greenish brick, which is called as Panchamyardha. The dimension is 420 and 420 itself. Then cut this brick into 4 times, this Panchami. Cut along both diagonals. We will get a small triangle which is having an area of 1/4 of this Panchami. That's why the name Panchami Padya. Padya means quarter. Pada, quarter. If we cut it once again, we will get a brick which is having area of 1/8. Half, 1/4, then 1/8. 1/8 is Ashtamsi, that small one. These 4 ishtigas or bricks are derived from this Panchami. Then there is one large brick which is having dimension 420 by 630. That name is Adhyardha. Ardha means half. Adhi means added. Half is added. Half of 420, which is 210. No. Half of half of 420 is 210. If we add this half with this 420, we will get 630. So Adhyardha is a rectangular brick which is having dimension 420 by 630. If we cut this Adhyardha along this long diagonal, we will get a brick having half that area. Ardha, half of Adhyardha. The name is Adhyardhartha. That rectangular one is Adhyardha. Half of that, Adhyardhartha. Okay. Now, cut this brick along this diagonal. This. Then we will make which is called as Dirdha Padya. Why the name Padya? The area is 1/4 of that long brick. The biggest one is Adhyardha. We derive this Dirdha Padya from back. So this Dirdha Padya is big.
What are the beginning? What are the beginnings? Also,
Okay. Dirdha Padya is derived from that long biggest one, Adhyardha. Padya means 1/4. The area of Dirdha Padya is 1/4 of that big one. And this one, this is Shula Padya. If we cut this Adhyardha like this, that remaining portion, this is Shula Padya from this Adhyardha. Then the remaining portion is okay. And there is another brick which is called as Sapada. Pada is added. 420 plus 1/4 of 420. 1/4 of 420 is 105. So 420 plus 105, 525. The dimension is 525 by 420. If we put these two bricks into this, see, if we are moving, this is 420, this is also 420. So we can place triangle. Similarly, this one 420. So if we put these two bricks on this Sapada, there will be a bottom portion. And we will get another brick which is called as Ubhayi. Okay. That peculiarity of Ubhayi is that it is a scalene triangle. Scalene triangle means all sides are different. Here you can see the length of that Ubhayi. One side is 525 and another one is 378 point something. And bottom is 525. Two slanting lengths are different. Actually, the calculation of Ubhayi itself is so difficult. It is almost impossible to find such a brick in those days. The calculation of Ubhayi itself is a mathematical wonder. Why these bricks are essential? I will explain those things. Here you can see
Inception.
Well,
Next step.
Kshatriya,
Sir.
Vedic. See, this line, it is not continuous. There is a small cut at this portion. In order to make that cut, they are using some specific dimensions. That's why those Ubhayi and that small Shulapadya, all those things are used for, in order to ensure that cut. In other Chiti, that is in Panchapatrika and Pithan, there is no such break. That line is continuous. So Ubhayi or Shulapadya is not needed at that location. Here you can see from the figure itself, the color is different. Most of the body portion is occupied by that square brick, which is Panchami, or half of that, Ardha, Panchami Ardha. And the wing portion is covered by that large brick, 1.5 brick, Adhyardha, and half of that. Okay. And at the top, there are two, I don't know what is the name of that color. No, this one.
Pink. Pink.
That pink colored brick is Sapada. Only 2 Sapadas are used in this layer. Mainly or mostly used bricks are that green one. The number can be increased because it's half. And that large brick. The number of bricks also written in the next slide. You can see. Panjami, 38. Then Panjami Ardha, half of that, 60. Then Sapada, 2 Sapadas only at the top. Adhyardha, 56 and Adhyardha, 45. Just add all those things. 38 plus 60, 98. 98 plus 2, 100. 56 plus 44, 100. So the total is 200. Okay. Now, this is for layer 1, 3 and 5. Previous figure. Even odd number layer. Now, in even number layer, the arrangement is different because we have to ensure that discontinuity. They have to overlap. Then, here you can see the center portion is occupied by large brick. In the previous figure, the center portion was occupied by the square, Panjami. Now it is occupied by the Adhyardha, 1.5 brick. See, here, a small brick is used at this portion. Sapada is for use here. Okay, just by changing the placing of these bricks, that vertical discontinuity condition is satisfied. At the same time, see, this Atma. It's a dot. It is a continuous vertical joint at Atma. In the previous, just 2 slides before, see, it's Atma. That continuity is maintained at that center core, which is Atma. On all other points, the vertical joint discontinuity is maintained. Here also, all 10 types of bricks are used in this layer. If we add all those things, the number will be 200. That was the first condition. Number of brick in each layer must be 200. That condition is satisfied. Now, if we calculate the area of bricks, surface area of one layer. Here I took an example from the odd number layer, where Panjami, Panjamyartha, Sapada, all those things were there. The number was written in the previous slide. I think you may remember 36, 38, 60, so and so. If we calculate the area of one Panjami, which is 420 by 420, the total area will be this much. Similarly, if we add all those things, the number will be 33075 000. This is in mm square. That's why the number is so big. I will explain what is the importance of this area in later slides. Just think about that number. The number is 33 something. Okay. Now coming to the next type, which is Panchapatrika. As we know, the sides for the edges are 5 only. This is a diagram figure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Panchapatrika. That figure is an example of Panchapatrika. It is having 5 sides and the shape is almost same. And it is representing the developing stage of this heavenly bird Sree. And it is somewhat simpler than Shatpatrika. So the number of bricks required is slightly less. Only 5 different shapes are used here. The basic brick is Chaturthi. Chaturthi means 4th. So the total Purusha Pramana height was 2100 divided by 4. It will give the value 525. So the base brick is of size 525 by 525. This is Chaturthi. A square brick which is having dimension 525 by 525. Cut along this diagonal. We will get an area, a brick having half the area. So the name is Chaturthartha, half of Chaturthi. Cut again. 1/4, Chaturthi Padya. And there is a specific shape brick which is having a shape of beak of sun. That's why the name Hamsamukhi. Okay. Then if we cut this Hamsamukhi into 2 pieces, which is called as Chaturashra Padya. Chaturthi Padya and Chaturashra Padya. These two are different, even though the area may be same, but that proportion and shape is different. In the next slide, see, you can see this is the odd number layer of Panchapatrika Chiti, 135. As I mentioned in the previous slide, see, this vertical curve is coming, or this line is continuous. So that small cut is not there. Therefore, the small bricks like Shulapadya or Ubayi is not needed here. That's why this geometrical shape is very simple compared to Shatpatrika. Here also you can see the center portion is occupied by the square brick 525 by 525 and the wing portion covered by both. And these are the bricks which is having that small area 1/4, and this one swan beak shaped brick which is called as Hamsamukhi. In order to accommodate this particular dimension, these two, the blue one, they are the combination of those Chaturashra Padya. Just one slide before. See, these Chaturashra Padya. These two Chaturashra Padyas are combined and placed at the top. And the head portion, that top, it is made with that 1/4 brick. Is it clear? Now just add, as I did in the previous slide, just calculate the number of bricks. See, Chaturthi is the most commonly used one. So Chaturthi Padya. Chaturthyartha, sorry, Chaturthyartha, which is 96 in numbers. And Chaturthi, that square brick is 61. Chaturthi Padya, 1/4, which is 36. Chaturashra Padya, half of Hamsamukhi, which is 6 in numbers, and 1 Hamsamukhi at the top. So all, if we add all this, which will result to 200. Next. See how the pattern changes. The center portion, at the center there are observations. In the previous case, there was at the center or body portion, that square brick was mainly used. Here, see, 2 Hamsamukhis are placed. And the center portion is covered by that quarter area bricks, Chaturthi Padyas. So that vertical joint discontinuity is obtained. In order to achieve that feat, this arrangement, this particular arrangement is selected. Here also, the mainly used brick is that red one, this number, Chaturthi, 72 numbers. In the previous case, Chaturthyartha was mainly used. Here, it is Chaturthi. Then Chaturthi Padya, 58. Chaturashra Padya, 60. Similarly, 6 Hamsamukhis, resulting 200 bricks. Okay. Now, if we calculate the area, and I calculated this value for the even number layer, first layer. The same will be for the odd number also, because otherwise, how we can superimpose both two? If 2 can be placed above 1, which means that 1 and 2 have equal area. Otherwise, it will not be possible. So, for every layer, the area will be same. That is an obvious option. See, the total area 33,075, the same value in Shatpatrika. In Shatpatrika, the area was this. The same value is obtained in the case of Panchapatrika also. Now, coming to the third one, which is Pithan. Actually, it is the simplest form of Chiti. As it has no edges on wings, that triangular shaped bricks can be avoided. Only rectangular or square brick is essential for making this shape. Okay, so the number of variety of bricks needed will be very less, and the complexity will be very less. That's why I mentioned it earlier. Pithan is not that aesthetic. On the other hand, Panchapatrika and Shalpatrika, there is a visible beauty in this. In Pithan, it is something like a rectangular or boring shape. That can be one reason for not choosing Pithan. Actually, it is very, very rare. I think for the last 100 years, there was no occasion where Pithan was used. See, very rarely used in Kerala, easiest of form, represent the infant stage. Only 4 types of bricks are used and all are squares. Basic brick is Panchami itself, 1/5, 525, 425. I will show the different shapes. See, this is a basic brick, Panchami, 425. 420 by 420. Now, Dirghapadya and Panjami Padya. Another shape is Sapada. Pada is added. 105 is added to 420. So that one is 525 by 525. This is one way of naming. In some other text, they are giving some other names. The base brick is Panjami itself. In Shatpatrika, we use the term Panjami Padya. In that case, it was a triangular brick, which is having area 1/4 of this square. To avoid the confusion, they are using some other names. What is the dimension of that Panjami Padya? It is 210. What was the total height? 2100 mm. 210 is the 1/10. So they give the name Dashami. Similarly, that Dirghapadya, it is a square brick which is having dimension 350 by 350. 350 is 1/6 of 2100. So they give the name Shashti. So according to that text, the name of these bricks are Chaturthi, this one, 1/4, 525. Chaturthi, this is Panjami, this is Shashti, and this one, Dashami. That is one way. In some other text, this notation is used. So I am following this one. Okay, you can use anything, but one way is this. Okay. See, how simple is this one? The center portion is occupied by a square brick. The number is 1. This center portion 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. This one is also. So the center portion is covered by 100 bricks. Size 425 by 420 by 420. And the wings. There are that green one. I think just green color green. 350. And small one, which is 210. Yes. See. All are small, simple shapes.
Chaturthi.
Eh?
Chaturthi.
The
Yes.
center portion is covered by Chaturthi. Not Chaturthi, Panjami. Fine.
Chaturthi.
Red one. Okay, only 4 shapes are needed and all those are squares. It's very simple and very symmetric also. When I was drawing these diagrams in AutoCAD, I took around 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours to complete that Shatpatrika. But it needs only 15 or 20 minutes, more than, because it's very simple. Similarly, when we are constructing, Pidhan is very, very simple, but Shatpatrika is that much complex. Here also, the total number of brick is 200. 120 plus 20, 140, 140 plus 24, 164, 164 plus 36, 200. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's not clear. See how that pattern is changed now. You can easily understand that change here because it's very simple. Initially, there was a square of 100 bricks. Now it is having a shape of T. The number of bricks are altered. Okay. Is it clear? No. Now only 3 varieties are used. 125 of Panchami, Dirghabadya 63 and 12 Sabada. Here also the total number is 200. So in every type of Chiti, in every layer, whether it is even or odd, the number of bricks are always 200. Similarly, if we calculate the area, Panchami, 125 Panchami results in this much area. We understand that brings about the. This is one interesting factor. In any case, any Chidi, if we select a particular size for size Ejamana, the surface area will be always same. In all the calculation, the value was 33075 That was the area. And some textbook says that this area preservation is maintained or satisfied in other shapes also. Shape for that tortoise shape or Ratha circular. In any case, that area is always kept as same. That ratio, the value may be different. That value is this one, 3375000. That value is 7.5 times 2100 into 2100. Just calculate 2100 into 2100. Just use your calculator. Into 7.5. 2100 into 2100 into 7.5. Same value itself. That ratio is always kept as 7.5. And they says that there is a particular proportion for the area of body, wings, tails, and head. I am not sure about that. That's why I am not mentioning that thing. But in that paper, they said the body portion, which is called as Atma or Anga, it is 4 times this 2100 in 2100. I am not sure about that. When I did the calculation for this thing, their argument was not completely satisfied. That's why I deliberately not included that portion. But the entire area concept is okay. And thus that paper says that this 7.5 value is maintained for any shape. Okay. So coming to my conclusion, I think now you may have at least some appreciation towards the mathematical side of this city. How complex is this? And how our ancestors were able to reach to such developments. It is quite amazing. Even now, it is unimaginable. Now, if somebody does some numerical calculation or modeling for this, we have a shape on which we can think. But just imagine the person who think about this shape and thought about the calculation of this. He has no base. He has to start from the zero. That was quite unbelievable. That's why I was so fascinated by this topic. And I think at least some portion are given to you. At least you will be able to appreciate, oh, this much things are there. If that condition is satisfied, I think my project or my topic in presentation is okay. Now, coming to my conclusion, Yagashala is a carefully planned sacred space in which every component has a defined ritual and geometric significance. The measurement and proportion used in its construction reflect the systematic and precise nature of Vedic architectural norms. The different cities demonstrate a remarkable application of geometry, measurement, symmetry, spatial planning in Vedic teaching. That's why that spatial planning, I mentioned there are two additional parakramas used for Adhiratra, Madhyama Parakrama and Vruddha Parakrama. Why? They knew that in order to accommodate that large space and space for moving around that, we have to use some other space. Okay. That is about spatial planning. Now, next slide. Each city has a distinct form, arrangement, and ritual purpose while following a prescribed principles of construction. The figures represent help us to understand how complex textile prescriptions were transformed into precise geometric structures. The study of Citis therefore provides an important link between Vedic ritual practice, apart from the ritual practice, geometry, measurement, architectural, and traditional knowledge. And another thing is that when we are constructing Citis, there is no mortar, just placing two bricks together. They have to stand strong. That is another important thing. We are not using any kind of mortar. No, nothing. Just placing. First of all, level the surface and take the measurements. Place the bricks. Thus, Citis are not merely fire altar, but carefully designed sacred structure that embody precision, symbolism, and intellectual heritage of the Vedic tradition. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for this fascinating lecture. And also thank you so much for your great effort actually to prepare it so nicely so that we all can follow it very easily, despite the topic is very complicated. And also it actually all the diagrams and so all the models and then the description of all the bricks and so on, it actually makes us like really astonished about the complexity of this geometrical, mathematical, and architectural dimension of it. So this is a true art, and it was really amazing to follow. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we all definitely enjoyed. So I think now we can go on to some discussion. So I think some questions we are going to have. So maybe as usual, we'll start with the questions from the audience online, and so we can check. And I already can see one question. Yes, please, Vishnu, would you navigate the discussion from the audience? Yes, we already are having questions, yes, from the audience. Yes, can you read it? Yes,
Hello, there is a question in online text. What is the Sanskrit meaning of Pidan? Is it Pida is a seat from Nigel Surya?
Pitha. Because the shape represents, Pitha means a seat. It's a rectangular or somewhat rectangular shape. That's why the name Pitha. Pithan.
Okay, there is another question from Kiran Sambat. I may have missed it before, but which Shalabha Sutra does the Kerala traditional mainly use?
Shulba Sutra. Yeah. That is Katyayana Shulba Sutra. In other states, they use some other Shulba Sutras. We are following mainly Katyayana Shulba Sutra.
Yes, any other questions from the audience online? Yes, we are having next one.
This is the continuous of the early question. Is this most being followers of Bauddhayana Srauda Sutra?
Actually, the ritual practice is mainly from Bauddhayana. In any yaga, there are some ritual side and some prayer side. Say, ritual side means some practices, bringing of some material, preparation. Actually, when we are constructing the Yagashala, the concept is that everything is made from the scratch. For the easiness, we will construct the entire structure early and we will do some rituals. Okay. But the concept is that on a say forest, we are clearing the area and we are constructing the entire Yagashala and materials used for that. So that process which has to be done is described in Bauddhayana Srauda Sutra mainly. And on the other hand, what type of mantras has to be recited? Okay. For Rigveda side, there are two types of Rigvedis in Kerala. One is Ashalayana and the other one is Kaushitaki. In Ashalayana Srauda Sutra, they will explain, or in that text, they will explain what mantra has to be recited during this occasion. Similarly, in Kaushitaka Sutra, they will explain. And these sutras are written based upon Brahmanas, Ashalayana Brahmana and Kaushitaka Brahmana. Similarly, for Samavedi, in Kerala tradition, we are following Jaiminiya Paddhati. So, in that text, Samavedi's text, they will explain. This Sama, name of that mantra, usually in Samavedi, we call it as Sama, Samagana. During Pravargya time, this Sama has to be recited. During some other occasion, these directions are given in Srauda Sutras.
Thank you so much. And do we have any other questions from the audience online? Yes, we are having.
Name is not clear. What is the difference between Vedi and Citis? Thanks, Vikram Bharadwaj.
Actually, Vedi is a larger area. Mahavedi. Can you show that figure once again? Figure 2 or 3.
Three.
Next one.
This.
This.
This one.
Yes. This trapezoidal shape is large shape. The bottom portion is slightly larger than the top. That's why the shape trapezoidal shape. That total portion is called as Mahavedi. And elements like Sadas, Havirdhana, all these things are placed inside Mahavedi. Chiti is placed inside Mahavedi. Okay. Mahavedi is an area for enclosing all those things.
Do we have any other questions online? Anybody else? Or shall we proceed now to the questions from the audience present here in Thrissur? Yes, I think that now we can proceed to audience present here. So maybe I will start. I have also two questions.
Yeah.
So first thing that interests me. So which kind of like local Shulba text your family is following? Because I know that in Taikatemana, they are having text which is called Yogyaruda Karika. And so this one is this explaining the three Kerala type Citis. So this Piran, Panchapatrika and Shatpatrika. So is your family having your own text which is used for this constructions, or maybe you are also using this Yogyaruda Karika?
Actually, we have some granthas or manuscripts for which explains these things. Apart from the shape, this ritual side also. Then say I said there are 200 bricks in each layer. I will explain a slight thing about the ritual practice also. When we are placing this each brick, that person has to chant 3 mantras for each brick. Okay, so total at least 300 mantra has to be recited. In these granthas, that mantra portion is also explained. And these 200 bricks, they are divided into certain sets or gana. Set means gana. So gana 1, which includes number of bricks. 1, 2, 3, so and so. Gana 20 may be 43, 44, something. So for each gana, there is a specific name, and there are some mantras which has to be used for those things. These are explained in the manuscripts. For each shape, Panchapatrika, Shalpatrika, or Vedha. And for your information, I think you may know, there is one good book, or not good, we can say best, written by Thrissur, Agni. In that volume 1, he explained the construction and the geometrical shape of Shatpatrika in very detail. The mantra part is also included in that. In volume 2, he wrote about these other two, Panchapatrika and Shatpatrika. And we are referring that textbook also, because it's now we can say it's an authority.
Thank you very much. And the second question, because I remember that was already many years back. I remember I visited your house, and I was shown some like wooden models, small wooden models for those Citis. So you're still having at home those models?
Yeah. Actually, it was made for the practice purpose. As I mentioned, when we are placing these bricks with mantras, we have to know which set. There is no particular order in this set. The number one may be on one side, say on northern side. Number 2 may be on eastern side. So we have to know in this set, where are the bricks located. And another thing is that when we are walking around, can you show me the shape? Anyone? Okay. Say, assume that this is number 1. And this one is 2. And here is 3. We will go to 1 and recite the mantras. First mantra. Then we have to move to 2, 3. Then we have to come back again. When the all 3 mantras for that brick is completed, you are allowed to step on that. Otherwise, you have to move as pradakshina this ishtika, this brick. So, in order to practice this, we must have some models. That's why we made wooden models.
Thank you. That's very interesting. And anybody else here from the audience would like to ask some question? No? So thank you very much for your fascinating lecture. And now we proceed to vote of thanks. So that would be Usha's. Thank you.
Respected Sri.Kapra Sankaranarayanan, Principal of Vadakke Madham, Brahmaswam, respected scholars, colleagues, and my dear friends. It is my great pleasure and privilege to propose the vote of thanks at the end of this insightful lecture on construction of Citis or Yāga according to Kerala tradition. First of all, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to young scholar Sri.Kapra Sankaranarayanan sir for taking the time to share this valuable knowledge with us. His presentation has given us a deeper understanding of the traditional constructions of Citis with the brick dimension, excited Chena shapes, and preserved with the Kerala Vedic tradition. It is very rare subject. If we can understand it, we can search for it in manuscript. But today, we were able to learn about it orally from you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. It will be very helpful for future studies and edition. The discussions in this program were very active, and we are all very thankful to you for sharing your valuable knowledge and for listening to us. All the lectures are available on the DiPiKA YouTube channel, including this one also. This gives all interested scholars an opportunity to listen to the lecture again and again. Please share it all. Okay, thank you all. Then next day, tomorrow, our lecture series, our lecture will be delivered by Dr. C.M. Neelakandan sir on the topic Uparupaga and regional theatrical dance forms. It will be held at the same venue, Sri Chandra Hall, Vadakke Madham Brahmaswam at the same time, and it will be also available online. Thank you. Thank you very much.